Roll20 page.
Where at? Sorry.
Do you want me to place a link up for the one I...
Yeah, please.
But there are, you can just choose one of the character sheets in Roll20, and then you can just edit it.
Your own.
They all have, like, just made
random
up
names. Yeah, it
whatever
always puts
names.
a random name.
Okay.
But at the bottom of the Roll20 page under the portraits, there should be macros for like 1d10 to 15d10.
I don't see them on mine. I think that's something that just... I think when you make those, they just make them for
placed
your
the link in there.
I think you need to go to the collection button.
Collection, where's that?
It's next to the settings.
Yeah. I hit show bar, but all I have is cards in there. I don't have like a rollable table
Okay.
or anything.
I can post the macro.
Okay.
I posted an example of the macro in the Discord.
Okay.
And then you just change the number. Obviously, 1d10 exclamation mark. And that just means that that an 8 and above is considered a success. And the exclamation point means that you reroll on or 10s explode.
Oh, that's just this character sheet that somebody posted up. Okay. Cool. Add macros. And 8s are always the target number, right?
Yeah, it can depend. Like for instance, if you have a different there are certain rotes that will change your that will change what a success is.
Okay.
Or when you do or what explodes.
Seems good.
And so just to remind you, so for most of your rolls, you're going to have a pool that is a attribute and then a skill.
Yeah.
And then plus whatever bonuses you get from some other item, and that makes your pool. And then if you're like unskilled in it, you can just roll a straight up.
With some minuses, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. It shows next to on the one sheet. It shows what the negatives are for using the skill unskilled. So that's going to subtract from your attribute pool. So for instance, if you were using academics unskilled and you had an intelligence of 4, you'd be rolling 1 die. But if it goes to 0, generally you can't do it unless it's something
super
unless
easy
it's
or
like
whatever.
yeah. If it's like a physical thing, I would say you could do it. But like for instance, if it was academics or computers or something like that, and you were down to a negative, I would say that it's just like beyond your ability to do it.
Cool. Just getting all those macros in. Six.
and we'll say for expediency that you're already an established Cabal.
Okay. That's what I forgot to do.
And then +2, since you guys are in a together as a Cabal, you can invest in a sanctum.
Cool.
You could do it individually, but you could have a group one, and then you would put in, you would like communally pay into the sanctum.
Seems good.
Because you buy the safe place, and the safe place is like it sort of has protections on it, so that way like it's difficult for people to get in.
Yeah.
And then the sanctum is more like almost a demence. You get bonuses to spell casting and stuff.
That's neat. Mage is like one of the only WoD things that I haven't got a chance to play, so it will be cool. I never ran it because it was complicated. We almost ran one, and then people flaked. Oh, high school. Cool. I'm gonna be shoving food in my face as we go, so don't mind that.
All right.
Give me a sec. Four. Okay. Let's hope I don't end up needing 2d10.
So, do we need to fill out the character sheet since we just roll the macro anyway?
You don't need to, but it's good to just have it, saved with the game.
Okay. Yeah, I got my sheet, but I'll go ahead as we're playing. I'll start filling out.
Yeah, it's not an immediate need.
Okay, cool.
That's fine. I'll just have like 10 instances of my character sheet up. It'll be fine. Oh. Just which one's the right one?
That's the magic part.
Yeah, that is the magic part.
I think I have mine pretty much.
All right, and then Ryan.
I can't hear John.
What? You can't hear me? That's weird. Can everybody else
Yeah,
hear
it's
me?
weird. I can hear him.
I can hear you.
The only person I can hear is Harry.
That is
Weird.
It's that cloaking spell you got.
Apparently.
Can you hear me now?
I'm going to take the silence as a no. I don't know.
I'm gonna try to reconnect.
Let's hope that helps. You can't hear me, but I'm going to say it anyway.
Yeah, because I can hear everyone.
Yeah, me too.
I would have to interpret what he says through me, and then
That would be.
Play a game of
funny.
telephone.
I mean, technically, one of the things he could do is just pull up the Twitch stream of it and try to do it that way, but that sounds horrible.
There would probably also be a delay.
Yes, which would make it funny. Let's see. Praxises. That's the one thing I didn't. Because I got distracted. Blame my wife. My wife. Okay. Let's bring up the book. And I haven't opened it on this computer, so it's going to take a minute because, of course, stupid Dropbox. You make my life so much better, but also you're annoying.
Hey. Can you hear us now?
Still not hearing anybody.
That's weird.
How about that is weird.
You might have to mess with his settings, maybe.
I think we're all in the same room, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we all are.
Yeah, general.
Yeah. I see JP and Stevens like circle around their icon light up, but don't hear a damn thing.
That's really weird. I've never had that happen. I've had it happen
Do you have
in Roll20 when you use
Do
the
you have a
internal Roll20 stuff.
Do you have a mute or something?
I'm gonna put up their user volume to see if that helps.
Oh man. Oh, that's something I didn't check. Oh, no, I don't want the Chronicler's Guide. That is not what I said to open up, damn you. Close current.
I don't know, guys.
I can hear you. Can anybody else hear him?
I can
I
hear
can't.
him.
I can hear him. I can't.
Oh, you can't,
Can't hear me.
Oh, he doesn't hear you. That is weird.
I just closed out the whole Roll20.
Do you hear me now? Guessing no.
We could try using Roll20's internal audio.
I'm just gonna try to reboot real quick.
I've never had much luck with Roll20's audio.
We've been
Yeah,
using
it's
it for
usually
my
pretty bad.
We've been using it for my Wednesday night D&D game. It's been working fine, but
oh, cool. Well, I haven't tried it since I guess 4 years, and it was really bad. But
yeah.
I'm up for it.
Like every once in a while we'll have weirdness, but like usually it's fixed just by reconnecting. I don't know. We can try to fix whatever it is on his end. I'm fine with it.
It's just weird because it's only
Yeah,
some
two
of the
of us.
people in the chat. Yeah. Does he might have the noise suppression on, and that might, I don't know if like. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me? John, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I can
Okay.
hear you.
I thought maybe it was this noise suppression thing they added in. It might have done something funky.
Yeah.
He might have thing they added in. He might have
My what?
Uh-oh.
I'm sending him a message. I
Okay.
think because you can determine the user volume, and for whatever reason it might have been muted or whatever. But you can do it for individual users. You can.
Yeah. Yeah, I know in the past I've had to turn folks up, so. Is the character creation part?
It seemed like the last time I was in Roll20, I had to change my audio output source for some reason. Maybe not.
Oh.
Do I sound weird other than usual?
Yeah. Technology, who knows how it actually works?
Jeez, really?
Yeah, you sound normal.
No, I don't hear
Brian,
anybody.
Hello? Do you hear me? Uh-oh.
Both of your volumes are at max.
I'll try reconnecting. See if that helps.
Get back.
Can you hear me now? I'll take his silence as a no. What, 6 dots worth of roots? That's where I messed up. Okay.
your sound settings should be fine.
I think I got everybody now.
Sweet.
Hello? Can you hear
Okay,
me?
you can hear me?
Yep.
Okay. What was it?
It changed my output device.
Yep, that'll
Yeah,
happen
that'll
right
do
away. Steve, did you say that from what you were looking at, our routes and our practices could be different?
Yes, they can be different. They don't have to overlap.
Okay,
Um,
that's so weird.
they're kind of the same. They're kind of the same thing, but
Yeah.
one is like a little better.
And you
The practice is a little better.
Yeah, and sorry, I'm trying to find it in here. How many? Is it a certain number of dots worth of practices, or a certain number of
One for each gnosis.
one
Yeah.
for each gnosis? So I get like just one praxis spell for each gnosis, basically.
Yes.
Cool. So obviously the expensive spells got.
Yep.
So telekinetic strike and cutting stream it is. And that actually works out perfectly. Awesome. That is level 2. That is life magic. And no, 2, not 3.
Did you get a chance to look at my character, Steven?
I did look at her.
Was it okay to start?
Yeah. It seemed good enough to start.
Did you notice anything that stuck out being wrong?
No, nothing really stuck out to me other than that you don't have your obsession.
Right.
I also don't have that yet because I'm like, I don't know, man. We're all supposed to have one obsession and then some aspirations, right?
Yeah, it goes up with your gnosis.
Yeah, my obsession will be fame.
My obsessions will be personal fitness because I am the swole one
Oh,
with
I think
a strength of 4.
Yeah. All of you would have one obsession because you're only Gnosis 1 or 2, and
Okay.
then at Gnosis 3 you can have 2.
would trying to become immortal, is that a obsession or is it too far fetched?
That would be like an that you could have because it is a long term aspiration, and you do gain you do gain what are called beats
Okay.
when you try to resolve them and regain mana. But the like immortality though is like a very dangerous obsession for mages.
Yeah, that's what made the Tremere into vampires.
Because though you don't really know about them yet,
Nope.
there are a group of mages who are called Tremere, like the old vampire clan. But they are mages who are soul stealers, and they kind of either devour souls or steal people's bodies to shove their soul into them to trying to live forever.
Yeah, they're
Oh, I
bad news
see. Okay.
bears.
Because they believe that through this process they can tap into them of mastery.
I'll be right back, guys.
Yeah. My character concept is that he's a surgeon. He's a doctor, and I was trying to think of a good aspiration for him, or
I think you could have used the more for free for
head
short
surgeon
term.
at a major hospital or something.
Yeah, there. Oh, yeah. That sounds. Well, that was easy. Sure, that sounds like a good one. Here, I'm thinking. I don't know what I'm thinking. I like that. Thanks.
But obsessions they can be things that they're somewhat mundane, but also things that would take you a long term to get.
I may have to think on that.
Yeah, maybe a little salt next time. Anyway, love you.
I'm still kind of filling in my character concept of Doctor Echo.
I am back. Sorry, what did I miss? Were we just introducing our characters?
We were just talking about beats or
Okay.
obsessions, which go into beats.
Yeah.
Because you have regular beats and you have arcane beats. And both of these are sort of like things that you do in the game that sort of go towards you getting experience.
Okay.
And there are two different types of experience that they give. For instance, like a regular beat is just general experience, and then arcane beats, once added up, they give you sort of experience you can spend on mage related stuff.
Okay.
Decided perfect knowledge of the self is a better obsession because it sounds cooler, more magey. Trying to think of what my aspirations are.
I think an aspiration like becoming the head surgeon would be a good aspiration.
Okay.
So these an aspiration are three sort of goals that your character has that they want to accomplish their story.
So I
And they
think,
can be general and vague.
yeah,
And once they're taken care of, you can get another one.
cool.
I think a head surgeon. I think that's the good thing I was going for.
I think raise in status amongst mages is going to be one of my aspirations. Try to think of other good ones for the concept of enlightened Hema nerd. Learn a lost sword style. That sounds cool. That's definitely a longer term one, I'm sure. I'm sure there's some weird ancient Atlantean swordsmanship that I can discover one day.
The Adamantine Order also have, or
Yeah.
the Adamantine Arrow also have stuff in their book.
Yep. I know at least one of my spells I yanked out of that.
Because a lot of sort of Atlantean stuff is similar but different. It
Yeah.
doesn't really like make a lot of sense how it goes, just because of like how the world works.
Yeah.
All right. And then so just give you an idea of the city of Orlando. The city is sort of recovering. In 2016, they had what was they referred to that as the bad year,
Mm-hmm.
where the Concilium was sort of in the process of going to war with the local Seers of the Throne pylon, and it just caused this like destructive series of events that wiped out one of the cabals in the city, except for one member, Artorius, who joined another cabal. And at the end of it, the hierarch of the city, who's sort of the leader of the mage community, Nizami, he became he became the hierarch, and he's just been sort of trying to like rebuild the city after that.
Okay. So plenty of room to rise amongst the ranks.
Yes, there are currently two cabals active in the city, other than yours.
Other than us, yes.
Does anyone have any more questions, or?
I'm just trying to think of a third aspiration. I've got rise among status, learn a lost sword style. I'm trying to think of a good third one.
There are positions within the Adamantine Arrow.
That's true. Let's see. Would that be probably in the factions and legacies section?
Well, legacy a legacy is sort of like a mini order you can join.
Okay. I'm just trying to find like if they have like if there's like specific ones to pick from in the book. Oh, here we go. We got the Black Tower, the Council of Dragons. That sounds cool. The Crucible. Cults. You can join a cult? That classic weird ass layout.
I have obsessions, fame, aspirations, sign a record deal, open for a major act, and gain recognition in the silver.
Those are good.
That's interesting. We've got like a left hand legacy.
No, yantras.
Left hand legacies are bad.
Okay. I figured since left hand path. I just saw it on the list and I'm like, what's this?
You had a question about yantras, Brian?
Yeah, what would a yantra?
Like a yantra is sort of like the style in which you cast your magic. It's sort of like the system you use that you've come to rely upon to cast magic. Let me see if
Okay,
I could.
what would be an example?
It would be like the materials you use in order to cast magic, what type of like acts that you do. Because no two people like cast magic in the same way.
So, like, cast it through singing a song and certain hand gestures.
Yes. So yantras are on page 119. It's essentially that it's your way of sort of translating your your will into the magic, and they can be just different areas that you do, or different like mudras, which are like hand symbols, or if you use runes or tools. For instance, as a your character's an Acanthus, correct? I don't have her sheet
Yes.
handy. Yeah, so with an Acanthus, you're sort of like bound to different materials, and for an Acanthus, it would be like using glass, crystal, silver, reflective material, precision weapons, which I guess would be more of an adamantine arrow thing.
Mm-hmm.
But still, those are what you really like deal in. So like if you had like a wand or something you would use, it would probably be made out of like one of those materials.
Okay.
Well, I think I found the one for me. The Crucible. So I wanna become one of them. New aspiration. Nailed it. Their beliefs include heroism is the mandate of the supernal, and the best defense is a good offense. And I'm like, well, I found it. This is my character already, probably. Cool.
And are they a legacy or are they just a cult?
I don't know. They're just in the factions and legacies section. It says they're a faction. So they're a
Okay,
faction within the order.
so they're like you don't get any sort of special things from them, because you have to, like, for a legacy you have to sort of buy in. You have to be initiated into a legacy.
So it makes more sense. So I could already be part of the Crucible, but be pursuing a legacy, kind of.
Yeah, legacies come later on, and it's almost like a subclass.
Okay.
They have specific requirements. You either have to be a member of a certain order or a certain path, or you have to be a member of both.
Okay. Well, let's see.
And there are regular legacies, and there are like left-handed legacies, and the left-handed legacies are almost always antagonist.
Yeah, one of these
legacies.
indeed is called the Devourers of Flesh. So I mean, I'm sure they're great guys, fun at parties.
Because usually, if it's left-handed in Mage, like in regular like real-world magic, it means that it sort of delves into like a darker, like sort of black magic area. And usually both the Order and the Seers are not really cool with people being in left hand like path type stuff.
Okay.
Like it's the type of thing that if they found out you were doing it, it could possibly get you in like a lot of trouble.
Yeah. Interesting.
Hey, anything else?
I'm just looking through and seeing what would make sense for my Yan.
And you can stack yantra or yantra items as well. to give you bonus dice up to what your Gnosis rating is.
Okay. Where is a list of the items?
On page 121, or 120 and 121, it goes into that, and it tells the effect of each type. For instance, like concentration, mantras. Because you have, it doesn't look like you have high speech, but for instance, if you have high speech,
I thought we all did.
Yeah, I think you start
No,
with high
you-
speech. I thought. Well, from being
Yeah.
a mage, you get one dot in high speech.
yes, you get, but to do more than that.
Got ya.
'Cause there is-
Now, can you also get more merits later?
Yes, you can, as long as it's on something that has to be like started, which I don't think there's anything so far in Mage that you have to have, starting out. But you can, yeah. So you're all able to understand high speech, but you have to buy the 1 point merit high speech in order to use it in spellcasting.
Okay.
Got ya.
Because high speech is kind of like a weird language. I don't know if you like read the write up on it, but it's not like a language you would use to like speak. It's a language that sort of conveys concepts, so it's not something you can really like hold a conversation in. And it's also something that if you like speak it around sleepers, they'll like either ignore it or like they'll get headaches and stuff because they're incapable of really like comprehending it.
Makes sense. So I think I'm interested in learning the ways of the Brotherhood of the Demon Wind. Because they seem cool. They're not a bad guy one, despite having demon in the name. They're just weebs.
Yeah, demons are generally in the Chronicles of Darkness are generally like very vague. So there's a lot of things that claim to
They
be
claim to
demons.
be, yeah. I know there's
Or are
Demon the
called them.
Possessed was one of the, or yeah, the Possessed book was one of the.
Because there's because like the main line demons are sort of like rogue, sort of like robot spirit spies.
Yep. It's weird. There's those ones, and then there's the weird possessed ones, which are a whole nother weird bag of odd. I played one in the last game I played of this, which was high school, so it was I literally punched people with my wealth. I got a bonus to my unarmed attacks equal to my resources dots. It was hilarious. Yeah. This has led me to I'm probably gonna change from 2 points in life to 2 points in something else. Time.
But one thing for like a yantra, Brian, you might want to look into is getting your character the high speech merit so she can use it to cast to get that as a bonus.
Okay. I found a couple things I could use as yantras.
I get to use weapons because I'm I'm a muscle wizard.
Yeah, like for instance, for like a member of the Silver Ladder, it would be probably something more like traditionally magic or more leadership based, because the Silver Ladder is kind of like the cool youth pastor like faction. Because all of them except for the Free Council are kind of like religious groups. in sort of how they operate and sort of how their viewpoint is, and the Silver Ladder are kind of the like everyone should awaken group, but they think that like mages should, those who've already awakened should be at the top.
Okay.
Got you.
All right, anything else, guys?
I think I'm basically good. I can make these slight changes to my routes while we go. It shouldn't be super
Yeah,
relevant.
yeah, you guys can change things up, or if you see like you want to do things a different way, or something doesn't work the way you originally thought it did, you can change that up.
Cool.
And so, you guys haven't been awakened very long. You've all sort of been grouped together by the local concilium. They eventually found you in different ways. You were inducted into orders. You sort of did like an apprenticeship type period, and then you were eventually put together into a cabal. And they kind of did this well to make things more politically balanced in the city, due to the loss of the third cabal that used to exist. They don't want one cabal to have more power over the. Though one of the cabals is the city, um, the Nabis Collective, which is Nizami's cabal. They're sort of at the top. He's the hierarch, and his and the herald is in his cabal. Root, and Root is a member of the Free Council and a Arcanthus, and he's the one that you guys mostly talk to.
Cool.
Lelia, she's the provost of the city, and she's a Thyrus of the Silver Ladder, and she's the head of the other cabal in the city called the Unbowed. And a member of her cabal is the Sentinel of the city, whose name is Marlowe, and he's Mastigos that's in the Guardians of the Veil. And the Sentinel is kind of like he's sort of like the sheriff of the city. He sort of goes around, makes sure that threats are being dealt with, or that if things are popping up, they're being taken care of.
Okay.
Generally, you don't want to like deal with the Sentinel, because if he has to come talk to you, that means you probably messed up in some fashion. The Herald, though, is the one that you mostly talk to, as they're sort of the representative of the Concilium. You've been to a couple Concilium meetings, but it's not something that's held all the time. It's usually only held during specific periods, or if things need to be dealt with. Because the Concilium is kind of like a tribunal. There are also a full seat of counselors. A counselor is a member of the Concilium who represents each of the paths. So if you want to know about your paths, counselor, I can tell you a little bit about them. But you don't really like interact with them as well, unless you need help with something related to your path, or if you need to speak with the Concilium for some reason that you wouldn't go through your order.
Like me, for instance, I'm a Mastigos, I guess. That's the warlocks. So I would have to go through my path representative if I wanted to what now?
Yeah, like if you needed to speak with the Concilium, for some reason, like you needed resources, you would probably go through the counselor for the Mystigos, who's a warlock named Wayfarer, and he's a member of the Mysterium.
Okay.
And then two, within the city as well, you do have you do stay in contact with people who are also in your order as well, which can be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on like what you're doing and what they want you to do.
Cool.
So the Herald of the City, he sort of comes to you from time to time, and gives you sort of jobs to do, so you guys can eventually earn enough sort of respect to become greater members of the city. So currently, he calls you to meet him at this cafe that's sort of around downtown called the Dandelion Cafe.
Sweet. Well, if I've been summoned, I will do.
Well, I'll go.
And then when you guys arrive, you see him sort of sitting outside at one of the tables. He's just sort of looking at his tablet. Seems to be working on something, and he sort of waves to you guys. Waves to you guys to come over as he's sitting there. He's a young, sort of a young, like 20-something guy. Sort of like dark, unkept hair, glasses. Just wearing like a t-shirt and jeans. Has a bag at his side. And when you guys come up, he puts his tablet away.
Okay.
I
I will go up
Um,
slowly.
give whatever the proper greeting, wave, I don't know.
Yeah, he
I'll put my
just
hand out for him to kiss it.
he looks a little bit flustered at the prospect, but he does it and then gets right to business. Says, "All right, so you guys have been together for a bit. I'm sure you've gotten the feel of each other. So what are you gonna call your cabal?"
We haven't really discussed it.
The Cabal.
The Cabal.
Good
That
question.
seems.
That's what Google says.
Well, you can think on it. You know, names have power, so it's not something you should commit to. You know, just
Need a good band
immediately.
name.
You have time.
So it's like the name of our group, basically.
Yeah, it's sort of like a shadow name, but for your group.
Gotcha.
The Lone Rangers. Probably not that. Well, we'll figure something out, I'm sure.
He says, so just to remind you all, you're all aware of the local Lex, you know, the Lex Magica. You know, we all have to follow the rules. They're pretty straightforward. He essentially lists off the ones that are in the book, just the basic ones about, you know, keeping magic, you know, secret, not not letting like sleepers know and sort of damaging things.
Of course, of course.
Because I would hate to have I'd hate to have, you know, Marlowe to have to come talk to you.
Yeah.
He's not a bad guy, you know, but it can be a bit much sometimes.
Understandable.
I've been doing everything in my power to keep the sleepers asleep. That's sometimes I get patients into my office where they say encounter strange things, and I ease their thoughts with a very logical explanation.
This is good. Just remember, you don't want to be suppressing things too much. We do, think that, well, some of us do, that everyone, has the right to awaken, and it's just an integral part of humanity. But just don't, go around, throwing fireballs in the middle of traffic at 5 o'clock.
Oh man, it sounds so fun though. I say.
If only I had that spell.
And he sort of also mentions to you that all of you, when you had sort of awakened, or soon after you had awakened, you would come into the possession of these stones that were very clearly part of an artifact of some kind. But you haven't been able to like figure out what exactly they are, what exactly they do.
Now we have them. Does this person know we have?
Yeah, they've sort of come up to the attention of people within the city. They know that you have them, but they don't know like what they are. They're
Would
just
this be a person that we would inquire about what they are?
he is a person within the city. He would be like you sort of brought it up to him because they were odd. Like for instance, if you like tried to get rid of them, they would like find their way back to you. It seemed to be some sort of item that didn't really have like a malicious thing about it or any sort of ill effects, but it just seemed to be in your possession, like you're almost like fated to have it.
Okay, and this gentleman, what was his name?
Root.
He don't know what they are.
Yeah, he doesn't know what it is. Him and some other of the members of the city, such as the Sentinel and the Hierarch, have looked at them, but they can't really figure out what they do yet.
Okay. How about where would be another place that we might inquire that somebody who could be trustworthy to find out what these?
He like if you ask him about that, he doesn't really seem to know. He thinks that like you should be careful about like who you bring this up to. But at this time, since nobody really knows what they do and you can't get rid of it, it doesn't seem like anybody's really like inching to take it from you.
Okay.
But he sort of asks, did anything happen with them? Did they do anything different? They generally don't. They're mostly just seem to be some type of like stone fragment that seems
Okay.
to have some like rune on them. Um, he does think on it, and he says, well, there was a mage who was part of the Cabal that sort of during the bad year they sort of mostly died. But anyways, he seemed to be onto some stuff like this. His name was Ta. We were pretty sure he died in 2016, but we're not really sure. He hasn't shown up again. But I was able to find this out, and he sort of pulls out like a post-it note, and he writes an address for a mailbox, and he says this was at a package store. It appears to be like a mailbox. He was maybe you could look into this, and you could track down maybe where his sanctum was, or his home, or anywhere else that he kept his materials, because I'm sure nobody has really touched them. Artorius might know too, but I would just look into this because I don't think he knows, and I wouldn't really bring it up with him.
Okay.
Artorius is he's one of the counselors. He's an Acanthus, and he is the only survivor from the Cabal that got wiped out in the war.
Oh.
So out of the 5 members that were in it,
Yeah.
he was the only survivor. It's believed as well that during the war, the pylon of seers, which is what the seers call their cabals or pylons,
Mm-hmm.
that they got wiped out as well.
Okay.
Well, that's something
And
new.
he says too, and he says as well. Speaking of casualties of the bad year, I do have an address. I'd like you guys to look into, and he writes down another address. He says this goes to a home in Windermere. It seems like it's abandoned, but I think this might have been a like a seer sort of sanctum or other sort of location. It doesn't seem like it's in use anymore. Like I said, it's somewhat abandoned. I've read some. I looked up some news stories about it, and but it goes back to a shell company. I'm pretty sure they were used.
Well, then, I'll have to check that out too. Thank you very much for the information.
But if you guys have any trouble, just call me.
Of
Like I said, there
course.
shouldn't be any of them around. I'm sure the places, if they did, they probably picked it. But you never know. So I'd be careful about that.
Of course. Of course.
Would I know anything about the area that we're going to?
It's just a very sort of richer area of sort of Orlando. It's to the north of sort of the theme parks. And it's where there are a lot of like mansions and like big homes.
Okay. I'll thank him and finish my vodka, and then I say that we be off.
Okay.
So which location are you guys gonna head to first?
Actually, I want to look
Or
at a spell.
Ooh, a spell you say?
Either shifting the odds, which has to do with investigation, or serendipity. I want to see which one fits better because it'll guide my where I should.
Neato.
right. That's a fate. That's a level 3 road, isn't it? Level 2.
No, two serendipities, one, and the other one is two. Sorry, I'm just starting to get into the whole. I'm old, so I'm just starting to use the PDF. Says shifting the odds. An apprentice of fate always has access to what she needs at the moment. The mage focuses on locating a particular kind of person or place or thing, and this spell directs her steps to it unerringly as soon as possible within the next 24 hours.
Okay.
Or serendipity, the spell grants the mage a momentary glimpse of all the potential roads her destiny may follow to her desired destinations. I guess I'll start with that one.
All right. So for that one, you're gonna use
And that's a road.
yes. So it's potency, and then what skill are you gonna use with it?
Should have some suggested skills on it as well.
Sorry, I gotta hold down control. Yes. Survival, I do have that as a suggested row, and the potency is that of. So I would use my fate, my 3 dots in fate, and my 1 dot in survival for 4 dice. Is that
Yes.
now? Is there any way to bump that up at all?
All right, let's go to the quick reference. Choose method. Assign reach. You're not changing the reach.
No.
Okay.
Okay, that's what that means. Okay.
So
Now, does my gnosis have anything to do with any of this?
right, so your potency is it doesn't really seem like your gnosis is really gonna come into play on this one.
Okay. So right now I'm at 4 dice. I don't know if there's any way I should have any more.
And are you using a tool?
Yes, I'll use one of my bracelets. It's reflective, silver.
Right, so that'll give you +1, so that'll put you to 5 dice.
Oh shit! Hold on.
So you get 3 successes, which is a success. It's just a regular success. 5 to get to a. And so you're sort of you sort of cast this. You're looking at it, and you believe that the best course would be to go to the package store.
I already know. I think we should go to the package store at this time.
Well, you've never driven us wrong before, so
Sounds good.
Alright, so you pull up to the store. It's still in like the afternoons. They're still open. It's sort of like a store where they'll sell things, or they'll ship things for like UPS and stuff like that. And they have mailboxes for people. And there's a clerk behind the desk. Excuse me. And they have they have a computer set up, sort of a desk, with a scale nearby. When you come in, they ask, how can I help you?
I'm sorry. I blinked out. What is it we're here for again? The package?
You're trying to find anything related to this mailbox that this mage had at this store.
And what was the mage's name again?
His shadow name was Ta, like Ptah. But his actual name on the account was Jonathan Daniels.
We're trying to find out. We had a friend who we've recently lost contact with who had a box here under name Jonathan Daniels. Is there any way you could help us?
It's like I don't. He's like I don't really know about that. We're not really allowed to. We're not really allowed to. Give out that type of information. There's a bit of confidentiality. It seems here, that that what I can tell you was, that mailbox was turned over in 2017, but I can't tell you much else.
I am going to do a mental scan, and then possibly, depending on what I think, if he's holding anything back, then I will go for superlative luck to see if I can get him to spill. 1 second, I gotta find this. I gotta print these spells out so I have quicker access.
anyone else doing anything?
I'm thinking.
Maybe just
All
like
right. Composure, investigation, primary factor, potency.
roll that beautiful bean footage.
You can only skills with it, right?
Yeah, you can only cast one spell at a time.
Well, no, it says suggested empathy, investigation, and occult.
Yeah, you can only use one skill at a time to make the pool.
That's what I thought. So my pool. Is there any negative to using the yantras?
Is there any negative to using them?
Right. Like, I mean, is there a reason why I shouldn't?
There's no reason not to use them.
Yeah.
It's just a thing where under ideal conditions you can do it, but it is possible, that someone could take it away from you.
I did get one success.
Right? What rote was
And
that?
this is by quickly scanning the very surface of a subject's thoughts. The mage is capable of discerning his mental and emotional. For each level of potency, the mage may ask the storyteller a single question to gain information about the subject's mental or emotional.
Right, and you did that was that a 1 dot or a 2?
That's a 1 dot.
Alright, so you can ask me one question.
What is his current mood?
He seems a bit flustered that you're asking him to do this. Just like he seems nervous because it does involve, information that's supposed to be kept confidential.
Okay. Guess that didn't give me too much. Well, I guess I'll try shifting the luck here. Let me find.
Something I'm gonna want to do. I'm going to use Pierce Deception so I can see if there's any like falsehoods going on. I'm looking. Reach is just requiring an additional success, basically.
Reach will give you the possibility of invoking like paradox, but you can have different effects.
Okay.
Because if you sort of put the spell beyond the confines of what your road is, you risk the chance of invoking like paradox, and then you'll have to roll against your wisdom.
Cool. Okay. So I'll just do the base thing. Do you get some type of bonus for using a rote skill from your one of the ones that's marked as a rote skill by your whatever it's called? I can't think of it. Order.
Your order? No, you can just use it in exchange for the other one.
Okay. Okay.
So say if that skill's higher.
So in theory, I could use any of those instead of one of the ones on the list?
If the situation is like relevant, like you couldn't like in order to use like say like melee,
Sure.
it would have to be in some sort of situation where you were actually like using those as part of the spell.
Okay.
So like if you just start, like just doing like I don't know, karate moves around the guy, like
that'd be weird.
like you could do that, but then he's also going to be like, wait, like what are you doing?
Okay. I'm trying to figure out a way I can justify using athletics, but I can't think of one.
It's like I gotta do yoga now.
So it'll be investigation. Let's see. Where'd it go? Where'd the spell go? Pierce Deception. So it's just road skill solo. I'll use Investigate. Oh, I can use Occult. What's my Occult? The same as my Investigation, probably. Yeah. So I'll use Investigation. That'd be plus my Prime. What are... I can't remember what my yantras are supposed to be able to be as a whatever the hell I am. Let's find.
As an Obrimos?
No, I'm a... Yes, Obrimos. That's what I am, aren't I? I can't remember. Too many things.
Yeah, for you, it's like steel, petrified wood, gold, perfected materials,
Okay.
Double-edged sword, spear,
Okay.
noble weapons.
Okay. So I'll have like basically a steel like ring on my finger that I utilize. So give me 4 dice. Let's see if it works out. Ooh, 2 successes.
All right, you got 2 successes. You didn't use the reach.
Nope.
So you know that he's telling the truth. That when he says, that he's not allowed to like tell you that information, he's like, he really means it.
Okay. So no.
Let me see what I have a mind of 3. Let me see what I have in that. Just a second. I might be able to.
I was going to do superlative luck and then try to persuade him with just a social.
Yeah, go for it. If you're our social monkey, turn on that
Yep.
witch magic. I don't know.
So this is a praxis. And I do do the same?
Yeah, you do the same thing, except when you cast it, if you get 3 successes, it's an exceptional success.
Okay. Four successes.
Alright, so you gain a +3 dice pool bonus to your to using your
social skill.
Yeah, to using a social skill.
So now when I use the social skill, do I also like add in an attribute too?
Yeah, because you're going to use the skill, the attribute, and then the bonus. So
okay.
that's gonna
probably manipulation.
Yeah, so for this, like you said, it's probably going to be manipulation plus
persuasion plus
persuasion.
The bonus.
Yeah, so you're going to have 10 dice.
Neat.
2 successes.
Okay. So you're sort of you're able to sort of talk him into doing it. He's a little he's a little flustered at it. You're an attractive lady. So he's just like, well, just this once, but like don't tell anybody.
Oh, of course not.
And then he's like, I could lose my job over this. And he presses a couple keys. He gives you a print up, sort of on the history of the mailbox that has when the account was open, when it was closed, and who closed it and who had access to the mailbox.
Perfect. Do a little flirting with him on the way out the door.
He waves goodbye to you, somewhat stricken.
I wave back.
So you have the information for someone named Marcus Daniels. It has his it has his address and his information, including like a phone number.
Okay. Do we have anybody who can like maybe get any background information on this?
I have a detective ally that's in the police department. Is that a option?
You could use them. They could look him up and get the information.
Okay, I'll use him. Let me see what do I roll for that. I think I have a.
You just expend the ally.
Okay.
So you can't use them for the rest of the night.
Okay.
That's your how many point ally are they?
They're two.
They're two. So he can give you like he can sort of give you the information that you're looking for. He's like, you text him asking about this guy, and then he sort of looks it up in like the database. He just sort of finds like a car registration, and he confirms that like, yeah, that's he gives you like a residence, and it's the same address that you have.
Has he had any I don't know, troubles or priors or anything like that?
He has a clean record. Most of the stuff he got for you was from like the like automotive like DMP database.
Oh, okay. And I relay this message on to the other two.
Good to know.
So I guess we head to his house. So I have the address, right? So we can drive there.
Yeah, you sort of drive out. You drive out to his house. He lives in sort of a neighborhood that's sort of not far away from sort of the downtown area. Just sort of an older, sort of like 50s, 60s style like ranch house are pretty common in that area. There's a car in the driveway. You know, the lawn is pretty well kept. The house though is it's in good shape, but nothing like remarkable.
Okay. Is this where I go up and knock, or how are we gonna play?
We can take a look at the place first.
Okay. Does anybody have any type of, I don't know, skills that may allow them? Can we use like Mage Sight to see if there's anything supernatural?
You could activate your mage sight, because normally you only have a periphery mage sight.
Okay. Well, I'll go ahead and activate my Mage Sight just to see if I see anything, any wards.
You don't notice anything major, but you do notice some slight supernal activity there. Nothing that really sticks out like the house is warded or anything like that, but there is a touch of the supernal.
Okay.
I don't have anything that would help.
You sort of see a slight tinge of a nimbus around, but nothing, but no like active spells.
Okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and do detect falsehoods again, because it can also show me like if something it's like if some like there's a false wall, something like that. Since it's like any falsehood like that, I'm going to draw a steel knife from a belt, because I'm one of those weirdos with a knife on his belt.
It's Florida.
Yeah, it's Florida. I just fit in. So I would get 5 dice. Because it's steel and it's a double-bladed knifey boy. 1 success. Do I see
And so
anything?
since you did do the +1 reach, we do have to roll paradox.
Okay.
So that'll be one die. I'll roll the one die, and then you roll your wisdom score.
Okay. My wisdom. Just that number of dice.
Yeah, you're good. That's going to be your dice pool. So Paradox got 0 successes. You got 1 success. So you're able to sort of cast it. Like you sort of struggle for a little bit, but it's nothing serious. Because if you do get more, if the Paradox gets more successes than your than your actual like roll on your wisdom,
reality
bad things
glitches
happen.
and yeah.
Yeah.
My head turns into a fish. It's fine.
In Awakening, usually what you do is you do what's called like pressing it into your pattern, where you sort of take the paradox into yourself to like sort of destroy it, and that causes you bashing damage. But you can also release the paradox, but that can be like really bad depending on the severity.
That sounds awesome.
So we just want to talk to this guy, right, to find out more about.
Well, we think he's dead, so we want to find out. We don't really want to talk to him. We want to see what see what he had here, right?
Yeah, to see what his relationship was, I'm guessing.
Okay, I'm going to take that info and I'm going to do my serendipity again. Spell grants the mage a momentary glimpse of all the potential roads her destiny may follow to her desired destination, which allows the mage to identify the next step she must take to accomplish a stated objective.
Neat.
2 successes.
All right, so you get a success with that. Just see. Gotta bring up Fate. That was serendipity, correct?
Yes.
It seems that, just like walking up and ringing the doorbell would be the best course of action.
Okay.
Cool.
Then that's what we shall do.
Yep.
You sort of walk up. It has a pretty like standard like doorbell. It doesn't have like a ring camera or anything like that.
Oh man.
Okay. Knock?
I'll be right back.
Okay.
Okay.
I knock on the door.
You knock on the door, and you see a moment at the nearby window. You see some sort of curtains sort of flutter a little bit, and then the door sort of partially opens, and he says, "Can I help you?"
Does this look like the guy we're looking for?
He seems to be a young, sort of in his 30s, African American male. He seems to be just sort of casually dressed. You can see that he does have the chain on the door when he does answer.
I think I'll let the pretty lady do the talking because, well,
Okay.
I could try. You'd be better.
So we are exactly trying to find out what was his name? Daniels?
Yeah, Jonathan
Yeah, Jonathan Daniels.
What happened with him?
And too, because you do have your mage site up still.
Oh, yep.
You do see that he is a sleepwalker.
Okay.
That he is, whether he knows it or not, he is able to sort of like perceive the supernal without it, like either like driving him crazy or him just like completely blanking on it.
Does that mean he's on the cusp of awakening, kind of, or?
It means that he could possibly awaken. But he is just, for whatever reason, he is able to he's able to sort of perceive things past the lie.
Okay.
Because awakening is sort of like a Gnostic setting, so most mortals, when they witness like magic, like they either like freak out and forget about it, or they just like blank on it.
Okay.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to try to do any. I'm going to ask him. We're looking for information about Jonathan Daniels.
Says, what? Why are you looking into him? What's this in relation to?
We a mutual acquaintance. Was that what it was? Wanted to find out about.
He sort of looks at you and he says, what was the name of this acquaintance?
Anyone help?
I don't know what the person's name.
It was
Like
Root the Herald.
buddy Root.
Okay, I'll tell him that.
He sort of thinks about it for a moment, and he sort of unchains the door, and sort of lets you guys in.
Oh, okay.
Sweet.
I'm gonna cast. Let's see here. Well, no, I'm not either. Never mind. Go ahead.
He sort of invites you in, and he says, I think I remember hearing about him. I'm just surprised, that you were all able to find me. My father, he tried to keep all that stuff away from us, because he was afraid, that we might become targets.
Understood. We did some investigating, and that's how it led us to.
Yes, my father. Did you know him?
No.
Yeah, that person.
He was he was, as I'm assuming you all are, um, of the awakened, as they're called. Him and his cabal, which he told me was called the Lockwood Trust. He passed away sometime about 4 years ago. I'm not really sure the exact circumstances of that. All I know is that only one member of his group survived that ordeal.
Wow. How unfortunate.
Was there any reasoning?
Sympathy for you.
He says, I believe you're familiar with the one known as Artorius.
Indeed.
Yes.
Yes.
Are you close with Artorius?
They're a little higher up the food chain than we are.
I see. Well, I'll strike you a deal. He says, I have a box of my father's things. I will give them to you, but you must keep them a secret from the others. I don't exactly trust the others. I'm not sure I even trust you. But as long as I receive the promise that once you take these things, you'll leave me alone, and we'll be done with it.
Of course.
Okay.
That shouldn't be a problem.
I'll give you my word.
We don't wanna mess with your life at all.
He goes into a back room. He sort of rummages around a bit, and he returns with a small box that's full of what looks like notebooks.
Oh boy.
The books have sort of like nondescript covers, just like blank books that you would buy at like a stationery store. But inside of them, things are written in them, and what appears to be a code of some kind. And there's also different like diagrams and pictures. And one of the things you notice when you're flipping through it is that you see some markings to similar to the stones that you have, and at the bottom of the box, you find another stone that's sort of like yours.
Oh. I'll
Okay.
just kind of give the
Okay.
side eye to my compatriots.
Okay.
I can't make heads or tails of it. I don't know if you all can,
In
but
time.
but you can have them. Like I said, just none of the others know about me. Correct?
Nope.
Now that we know of, we will do our best to keep it that way at your request.
He thanks you. He says, so now, if you could all be on your way, I'd appreciate it.
Thank you and have a good day.
If you need anything, I'll give him like my phone number, the burr that I use.
He thanks you. And then after you guys leave, you can hear the deadbolt being turned on the door.
Well, guess we should find somewhere and get a read-in.
Yep.
Cool. Do we have like a sort of a like obviously we don't have points in like it to have it be like a sanctum or anything, but sort of a base of operations that we congregate. I mean, we could even go to like one of our houses.
Yeah, you guys can have. Well, you obviously have domiciles, and I would say that you could possibly have like an unsecured sort of location that you meet up at. But if you want that to have like better security or to have the benefits of like a demesne and a sanctum, you would need to invest in that.
Did anybody spend points on sanctum or anything? I guess I haven't. I don't know
No.
whether people
I
bought.
did not, but I might be able to buy us one. I do have 2 in resource.
Yeah, I do also have 2 in resources, but that would just be getting like
We could maybe pay someone to use a place with said stuff.
the downside is they know how to get in. We could just have like a rented out like you store it type storage place.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Cool.
Yeah, you could buy like one of those like hole in the wall places where you could sort of make a store or use it as storage or one of those types of things.
Oh, that's what it could be. It could be the back of like my weird like selling HEMA supplies store.
There you go. Perfect.
Cool. I now know what my job is. I'll come up with a
Your
cool name.
dojo.
Yeah, my dojo basically. Cool. To the dojo.
To the dojo.
And eventually we'll spend points on making the dojo like a. We have armed guards at the dojo. They're called the people that are just there.
The white belts.
Yep. The white belts. They're like red shirts, except
Right.
less inept. Cool.
So with the book, while you can sort of get into it, I will say that from a game standpoint, that this is not something you're going to be able to like decipher in one sitting,
Okay.
and it's going to give you like plot points throughout the chronicle.
Okay. Cool.
Okay.
But two, like if you guys want to go and like go there in between to like plan your next move, that
Yeah.
would probably be good.
Go there, kind of look through it. I don't know if like a academics or occult role would be useful for like gleaning what I can.
I would say that if you did that, you would be able to find like points of interest.
Sure. That'd be like a wits or intelligence. What would you like me to use?
I would say it would be intelligence because
Cool.
you're sitting down and getting into it.
Well, my brawn is only slightly better than my brain. So, did you want occult or academics?
Whichever is higher for you.
Okay. Does my specialization in history help?
No, because it's like It's
Yeah.
sort of like supernal related.
Had to try. Cool. So I have 5 dice.
Does the book have a name?
It's just like his personal like journal.
Okay, I thought it
That
was like a
is
spell book or something.
2 successes.
You're sort of looking it over. I would say too, if you had if any of you are good at like math,
Good at
had
what?
a
Sorry.
specialization in. If any of you had like a specialization in math,
Okay.
like a science specialization, you could sort of try to unlock what the code is, like what cipher he's using, since you
Yeah.
don't have the base for it. But just looking through
There,
it,
there's a spell that could do that. Can I use that spell as without having it as a rote?
you could try that, but you'll have to spend gnosis to do it.
And what does that mean?
It means that you're gonna have to spend gnosis, and that you risk a chance of invoking paradox.
Now, do I recover that gnosis?
Yeah, you're gonna recover it, but unless you go to a place where you can just obtain gnosis for free, or if you have Prime, you can sort of refill it that way. But you're probably not going to get it back this game.
That's fine. I have in Fate, it's a 2 dot. It's lucky number. The probability of correctly guessing a phone number, a password, or lock combination on the first try is minute but not impossible. This spell allows the mage to do just that simply by entering into an appropriate device. It's on page 136.
Mm-hmm. So I would say with that, you would be able to start unlocking some of the cipher, and then from there you would be able to sort of make a pad for reading it.
Okay, so
And with that, just too, like you're gonna have like the key to reading it, and it's gonna mean that you can translate it faster. But you're not gonna be able to just like look at it and read it. You're gonna have to do like a 1-for-1 translation.
okay. So how do I do this without it being a?
Right. So the quick reference.
Do I just use my fate?
Yeah. So you're gonna. It's gonna be the same. So you're gonna have to. I think you just spend gnosis.
Would it be spending gnosis or spending the mana?
Or spending mana. Yes.
Okay. So I do my fate and then my yantra for 4 dice, and that would be it.
Yes. Oh, it's a yantra you're casting?
Oh no. I'm sorry. I meant my magical tools that I.
Yeah, you would just get that bonus.
I did get a success.
Nice.
All right. So with that, you're able you're able to sort of unlock a bit of the cipher.
Okay.
So the journal is what he has written of the locations that he has visited. Is that right?
It just
Maybe.
sort of like his study notes on different subjects. And then John, if you want to roll, I don't think did you roll for your your reading of the book.
Yeah, that was the first roll. The 2
Okay,
successes.
so with both of those together, you're able to find, and you see sort of a page that details that fragment he has, and from what you gather from your very brief translation of it, is that he believes that there are multiples of these items, and that they form together to form some type of a key or item.
Interesting.
So he sort of theorizes that they can be combined together in some process, and that they might sort of be put into something or combined with something in order to make it whole again, and then cause something to happen.
I will pass that along to my friend.
Um, and you also find what looks like a like a clip out, like he printed out something from Google Maps that was sort of pasted into the book, and it looks like a subdivision of some kind, but it's just like streets. It doesn't look like there's any houses, and he's sort of like etched around like where the streets are with like a pen. He's sort of like gone over it and is sort of postulating on the significance of the symbol.
So, like, trying to hone in on where it all comes together.
Well, he's sort of looking at it, and he's sort of equating that the design of this subdivision, almost like the way the streets are set up,
Oh,
almost seems like some type of like rune or symbol.
Interesting.
so like looking at it from like a top down.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
I couldn't use scrying, my scrying spell to see that location, could I? I wouldn't think.
Yeah, you could try to look into it, because that's a space route,
Yeah,
and which one is that? Just scrying
two.
space 2.
Yeah. So it'd be 2 dice plus my skill. Is that right?
Yes.
And I was going to choose occult to have the most in that. So, just a second. Let me get my sheet up here. Okay.
All right. So you sort of do this. You work the ritual, and then you all see that he creates almost like an image, almost like looking into like a mirror or a TV screen, and it just appears to be just like a sort of like vacant streets, with like cracked pavement, and you can just sort of see like tall grass and trees, like very uncapped area. Um, and looking around, you notice a landmark sort of off in the distance. You notice a tower, and it appears to be like one of the local sort of touristy type rides.
Okay.
You can sort of see it off in the distance. It's like not right next to it, but that's like the most discernible thing you can see.
I take it everybody has seen it, or can see this too, because it's kind of like a TV screen, basically.
Neat. Well, that's interesting.
Right, so you're sort of able to get a good idea of where that is.
Shall we go there then?
Yeah, let's head there and then check that out.
I like this plan. I'm excited to be a part of it.
Right, so you guys all load up and you head out there, and you sort of it's sort of in Kissimmee, just sort of on the edge of where the theme parks are, sort of on the opposite of Windermere, and it's a much more sort of touristy and lower income area. You drive down a street, and then sort of there's a couple houses, and then those houses sort of stop, and it's just vacant lots, and you come across an area that's nothing but sort of like broken and cracked streets. All the streets have street signs, but there are no homes on them, and there's also sort of like debris scattered throughout. Like for instance, like discarded like couches and things like that. Just like standard like dump site stuff that like nobody goes to.
Let's see. And do we have the coordinates from like Google Earth? You said somebody mentioned that. Is that?
Yeah, you have you have sort of the information about the subdivision, and you're sort of looking at it, and you're able to sort of figure out where the streets are that they marked and stuff like that.
Okay. Well, what should we do?
And, and plus two, if you guys wanted to, you could activate Mage Sight.
Okay.
Sure.
When you activate your Mage Sight, you're sort of looking at the area, and you notice that just a general way that it is like faintly supernal.
Sorry, what's faintly
Um,
supernal?
the subdivision that you're sort of like riding
Oh.
around. You notice that throughout the lanes that are sort of marked off on the map that he's sort of done the pen on, that you're getting a slight amount of sort of residue.
Like everywhere, pretty.
Only on the avenues that are marked off on the map.
Gotcha.
Interesting.
So would it be reasonable to assume that we need to get to an elevated point so that we can look down on it?
You could possibly do that, but you do also have that like aerial view from the map.
Okay. What do we feel this is actually like leading us to?
You're not entirely sure yet, but you have a feeling that there might be something here, that this might be something related to maybe someone had tried to do like a ritual here, or they were trying to set up some sort of like long-term project in the area.
So basically, what we're doing is just going down these streets and trying to see if something stands out.
I believe that seems what you guys are doing.
Okay.
But what exactly the purpose of this like large scale sort of sigil that's been made with these streets, you're not entirely sure.
Okay, that's where I was at too.
Would an occult roll give us any insight into that?
Yeah, you could roll a cult.
What attribute?
It would be intelligence and occult.
5 dice it is. Does history? Wait, no, that's an academics, not a. 3 successes.
Nice.
So you're sort of looking at it, and you kind of think that they're trying to maybe summon something, or sort of change the ley lines of the area, because you sort of have specialized in prime, and you kind of feel that this might be like prime related.
Okay, I pass that along.
Wow. Okay.
Can I roll too, just in case if I find anything else?
Yeah,
maybe?
you can roll as well.
No, probably not. Just 2 successes.
You sort of thinking on what he's talking about, and you think that it's also possible as well, that it might not just be something that might be like set up to summon something, but also maybe it's been set up in order to influence the area.
Interesting.
Oh, okay.
So they're trying to cast some kind of ritual to summon something in, or just to
Or
make it more
or
like a
to
hotbed
the
of.
area be a certain way, like maybe to either pacify or
like a resonance.
yeah.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Very interesting.
This is some big juju.
While you guys are sort of standing around, sort of talking about this, you notice that two people just sort of suddenly appear. Like you sort of look away and then you look back and then they're just like suddenly there.
Do we recognize these two people?
You've never seen them before. One is they seem to be young. One of them is like a Hispanic woman, and the other one is sort of a Asian guy.
Okay.
And they're both sort of walking towards you.
I guess I'll
As they
stand there.
as they get closer, they sort of wave to you.
I'm gonna cast mental scan on them to see what their uh, intentions basically are. If it's like if they're thinking attack or if they're thinking to deceive, maybe
Hmm.
is that feasible?
Yeah, you could do that to sort of get what their intent is.
Okay.
I'll just kind of give them the nod.
They nod to you, and they come up and say,
Oh, no successes. Ugh.
she sort of looks you guys over, and she says, "So, um, I'll let him do the talking," and she sort of motions to her companion. He says, "So I'm assuming, you all are whatchamacallit, I guess wizards. I don't know how to put it.
Excuse
Um,
me?
and, and when you're sort of looking at these people, you get like a very like feeling of sort of like fight or flight, like sort of like you're confronted by like a wild animal, like something that's like very like predatory by their nature. That you being in their presence just somewhat unnerves you a little bit.
Okay.
I tell
Uh,
them wizards is such a strong word. What do you mean?
well, I guess you guys are like us, and you're gonna beat around the bush. But my friend here, and she sort of waves to you. She tells me that you guys are seem to be those type. And since you're not attacking us, I appreciate that. But my name is Justice Fury, and this is my companion here. Her name is Calm Within the Storm. We just wanted to tell you guys that we don't really appreciate what you're doing in our territory.
Your territory, I say.
She, you guys are the ones that have been messing with the local spirits, correct?
No, I've never been in this part of town in my life until today.
She looks over at him and he nods like affirmative to her. It's like all right. Seems like you guys are. But anyways, we if you know anybody who is, we'd appreciate it if you stop because if they don't, and if they're doing what I think they're doing, we might have to deal with them.
Can I glean? Me personally is pretty sure what they are, but could I glean? Would my character have an idea of
You could
who slash
use
what
you
these
could use
people?
you could use Mage Sight on them
Cool.
if you wanted to.
Sure. Won't end poorly. Is that an actual like rote that I need to have, or is that something all mages just have?
Yeah, you just turn on your active mage sight.
Cool.
It just allows you to perceive things. You usually have it on in the periphery.
Yeah.
And it did kind of buzz that when they did like suddenly show up.
Okay. I'm sure I see their angry spirit.
Yeah, you
The
see that they're
rage
sort of
lord.
see that they're like an amalgamation of two sort of like entities of both like a normal person and then something like bestial.
Yep.
Mm. And they're guarding this area, or this is their territory, I guess.
She they sort of talk with each other a bit, and then the man goes, well, seems that one of your fellow, I guess I won't call you wizard since apparently that's offensive to you. One of your people, they seem to be messing with the spirits, and if they are doing what we think they're doing, which is combining spirits together, that could end very badly for the area.
Oh, we don't want that.
I said I agree. Maybe we can help. Maybe we can find
Yes.
who's doing this.
They sort of look to each other and they nod, and the woman sort of produces a piece of paper that has written on it different addresses. And they say, well, these are a couple sites where they were messing around at. One of them is a electrical substation. This one here is a what they call an ISP head end, and then this one here is like a 4G tower. So if you don't know who these people are, if you could find out and let us know, it would save us a lot of trouble.
Yes, we would. We don't want pieces in everybody's
Because
best interest.
the last thing we need is for there to be a magath.
Oh, a what now? Have I ever heard that word?
You've never heard it, and none of you really have. 'Cause none of you have spirit. So all of this is sort of like dropped blank to you.
Sorry, spirit's on my forte. I don't know what that is, but it doesn't sound good, and it sounds like in our best interest to make sure it doesn't happen.
They say, all right, well, like I said, if you don't deal with it in a timely manner, we're going to have to deal with it and everything that entails. And she sort of like cracks her knuckles when he says that.
Have we figured out what these people exactly are?
You don't know. You know they're not mages. They are alive. They appear to be breathing, and like I said, when you look at them in mage, they sort of seem to have that like aura about them.
Would I guess like werewolves or something?
Like out of character, they're werewolves, but in character, you've never encountered.
Okay,
But if you ask around, they'll probably tell you that's what they were.
Yeah.
gotcha.
Forsaken werewolf. The Forsaken werewolves are like guardians of the spirit realm, as opposed to like the eco terrorists that they are in.
Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
So
they
yes.
keep the spirits in line because spirits in Chronicles of Darkness they're not inherently evil. They're just inherently at odds. Yeah, they're antagonistic to humans.
Cool. Well, thank you for the information, and we will do our best to make sure that these whoever's doing this is stopped in a very timely manner. We'll check these out. Probably is it just around what time of day is it?
It's getting into the early like evening.
Do we want to check this out now, with my friends, or shall we come back in the morning?
I think we can check it out now. I mean, since we're here and all.
Yeah,
Sure.
it saves the car ride. Fine by me. Well, I guess
All right.
go to wherever the nearest one on the list is.
You sort of look at it, and the addresses are sort of on the like the other side of town. They're over by where like the university is.
Okay.
And when you head over to there, as you're sort of driving away, you sort of see that the two individuals they sort of disappear. Like when you look away and then look back, they're gone.
I hate when they do that.
Yes, it's very disconcerting. Not a fan.
Are you going to go to which location are you going to go to, and are you going to inform anyone in the Concilium that you've come into contact with, like seemingly another supernatural group?
If that's what standard procedure would be, I'll give a call.
You call up.
I assume
You call.
whoever would be the right person. I don't know who would be the right person.
You would call the Sentinel, who's Marlowe.
Okay.
You call up Marlowe, and he sort of answers. He's like, yeah, what can I do for you?
Well, just wanted you to be informed. We encountered some other members of the supernatural community while on this assignment we were given. I give him the area, and I'm sure he would know that's territory of the
He
Wilfs.
he sort of thinks about it. There's sort of a pause. He's like, all right, and then so guessing territory. Guessing that's the fucking werewolves.
Yes.
And so how angry were they?
Not very. They seem to be. They're actually rather pleasant. They just they say somebody's been messing with spirits,
Oh,
and would like us to maybe I don't know what the right word would be. Maybe self-police.
all right. I will. That sounds good. You guys got lucky. You didn't run into the crazy ones. It sounds like. So I'm gonna call up a member of my order, Uriel. She will come meet up to you with wherever this investigation, wherever you plan on going. She will help you with this because I don't think you guys have anybody that really knows how to deal with spirits.
Yes, it's not our forte.
And he says, well, she'll meet you there. And then he says goodbye and hangs up.
Fantastic. Bye. Okay, he hung up. Okay, well, that's fine. Not rude at all. Yes, I will pass on the information to my friends. Franz.
Okay.
Guess we'll keep going.
Right, which site do you go to first?
Whichever one's closest, I guess.
You go to the head end first. And it's sort of this brick building that doesn't have any windows on it. And there's just sort of like a small area to park cars, and then you just see a sign that advertises, the local like cable company on the outside.
Cool.
And then after you pull up, a woman sort of pulls up in a car. She has sort of dark hair, pulled back, somewhat severe. She's dressed rather nicely, and she steps out, and you recognize her from Concilia meetings as Uriel.
Oh, okay. So greetings.
Yep.
Or are we going to meet her? I suppose. Or are we going to?
Yeah, that's what they were.
Okay.
I informed you guys that they're sending Uriel in order for us to have someone who knows something about spirits.
When you get there, she says, "All right. I want you guys to check out the perimeter. Don't be too conspicuous. This does appear to be this place does have some security, and it is getting a little late, so we don't really have any reason to be around here. So try not to make a scene." And then she just sort of disappears
Okay.
in a fashion very similar to what the werewolves did.
Okay. I think I figured out what they're doing. Now I understand. All my World of Darkness foreknowledge is coming back to me. Stepping sideways.
Do you guys do anything while she's gone?
I'm gonna do my serendipity again to see maybe what steps I should.
Right.
I'm not gonna lie, I kind of love that spell. I don't know what to do. I guess I'll magic.
That's why I took it.
No, it's great. I love it.
I did get a success.
So while you're sort of like going over that, you sort of realize that that you see like the back of the building.
So I see a back of a building.
The building that you're like in front of, you see it. You see a specific.
Oh, okay.
Like that we should go there, I assume.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we shall start to go there.
You sort of get this like vision. When you go to the back, you can see that there's sort of like an exchange box, and then there is sort of between it and the building. There's like a small space.
Oh, okay, like a secret type entrance.
Well, no, like there's sort of like a space in the grass where there is like a mechanical box, sort of like in the grass, and then there's an empty space between it and the building.
Okay. Well, I guess inspect the box.
You're sort of looking around, so if you can give an investigation roll.
And that is intelligence or wits?
I would say for this it would be intelligence.
You want all of us who are there to do it?
Yeah, if you want to.
Oh, do I want to roll a thing? Of course I want to roll dice. Investigation plus intelligence. Boop.
Did you say intelligence rather than wit?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
I see everything.
Oh boy.
I mean,
one of those times.
Sounds like this just seems like you're reliving your last wizard. I'm just saying.
Of course.
Nice.
My great grand. He was in a different place called Galanthia.
Yep.
It's but that's just hearsay.
Yep. So you got 7 successes between the 3 of us, however many of us there are.
And you do find what appears to be leftovers from a ritual that was done.
Take some pictures.
And if you want sort of like a revelation into what exactly was done here, you can roll for revelation, which is Gnosis plus Arcanum, and we'll say a minus 3.
Oh, geez.
Do you just pick an Arcanum, or does that have to be a specific one?
So for this one, we'll say it would be either Prime or Mind.
Well, that would give me negative. No, that would give me 0 dice.
I got 2 successes on 1 dice.
Nice. Hell yeah.
I get 1 dice this minute. Let me see what mine is. Oh boy.
So
Wow.
you're sort of looking it over, you're scrutinizing it, and you feel like that somebody had bound something here.
Okay. Well, I share that.
Interesting.
After a bit, Uriel comes back. She says, "It looks like somebody came here and they were messing with the spirits, specifically a knowledge spirit."
A knowledge spirit.
Interesting. The Lupine said something about someone mixing spirits, combining them.
She sort of takes it in, and she thinks about it for a moment, and it's like, well, let's look at some of the other places they had. And she says, so this one was a cell phone tower. It seems. She says this one was an electrical station. So I'm guessing maybe a electricity spirit.
Hmm.
Is there something you could think of that they might be trying to create using all these?
So I'd have to look into it, but if they're usually you don't combine spirits like that. Usually like goes with like. When you combine two different um, choirs, as they're called, of spirits, they it sort of makes an abomination that doesn't really know what to do.
Yes, they seem to be afraid of that happening.
Yes, it tends to be bad because they're very destructive. Spirits tend to influence people in order to get more of what they call, or what is called, resonance. So, a spirit, for instance, if it was a spirit of gluttony, it would want people to commit acts of gluttony in order to gain more sustenance and become bigger.
Hmm. So a spirit of electricity. Of a.
I don't recognize the. I tried to scrutinize and look into who cast this spell, but I can't really figure out. All I can tell is it doesn't match anyone in the city that I know of.
Okay.
Any way you can think of to track down who it could be?
I guess we could keep our eyes open, but other than seeing them, committing the act, or finding them in other ways like that, I wouldn't be able to track them down so far. But I would keep an eye open.
Okay.
She says I did get from the resonance, the nimbus of the person who cast it.
Oh.
It sort of seemed to have a bit of dread and doom associated with it.
Hmm.
Okay.
Keep an eye out for a Dread Doom Nimbus. Got it.
She she snaps a picture of the piece of paper that you guys have with her phone. She says, "I will. I'll look into some of this over time, and I'll ask around. But this is definitely an outsider who did this, so I would be on my toes."
Thank you. We will continue our pursuit, I guess. Unless it's getting too late for that.
So far the trail has sort of grown cold, but you do have an idea of like who you're looking for.
Sweet. I guess we didn't get any like contact information from the werewolves about
They didn't give you any contact information, but the implication you got from talking to them was it was a we'll find you type deal.
yeah. I should have asked for their
Okay.
number. I've never got to spar with a werewolf. It might have been cool. Sweet. Oh yeah. I guess we'll turn in for the night.
Yeah.
Go to our
Yeah.
respective
Alright.
homes. I imagine that I just have like a place in the dojo.
You could rent an apartment above the dojo.
Yeah.
I got an apartment close to my medical office, so I'll go there.
And what time were we stopping tonight out of character?
How much later do you guys want to go? Because we can stop here if you want. Because I know usually some of you like to be done before 10.
Yeah, I can stop here and
I can stop whenever. Like,
Okay.
So far, you still have the mansion to look into,
Okay.
and you also have. I will give you some more sort of like plot points that come up in between this
Cool.
game and the next.
Okay,
sounds good.
that works.
Right, and then too, if you guys have any questions or you want to change some things on your sheet, since you've played a game now and you
Yeah.
know how the system works, you can tweak that if you want to, and just let me know. And then
Okay.
also to just post your character sheets in the Discord once they're done,
Definitely.
and then also add them into the Roll20.
Okay, I'll
Yeah.
do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm still getting into the mage, so I like it so far.
Yeah, me
I'm just
too.
trying to learn
I'm
I'm just trying to learn the system.
I'm digging it. I like it. I'm excited.
Yeah, me too. I got to go through and read all the spells and the different
Oh
stuff.
yeah,
So
no, it's a rabbit hole you can really go down.
right.
No, I'm stoked. I'm stoked.
Cool.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna probably change some of my spells around a little bit, but yeah. For some reason, I never thought. I don't know why I never thought of it, but the implication of like time magic plus doing like fighting stuff, and I'm just like, oh.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
All right.
All right then.
I will see you guys next week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
See you guys next time.
Bye,
Later.
everybody.
Bye bye.
Bloop. Cool. So that was session 1 of our Mage 2nd Edition game. I'm super stoked, guys. See you guys next Sunday. For more. Now you can see my face, which, sorry. Yeah, listen to Random Encounters of the Nerd Kind. Hopefully we get an episode out soon. Things have been a little bit wonky, but with the Rona and my internet not being the best. But yeah, take it easy.